me, if you could know in your life trajectory what I had learned in the course of my life trajectory up to that point, but learn it 10 years earlier, that meant by the time you got to where I was at the point at which I'm imparting this information to you, you'd be so far more advanced than me by the time you got my age that there'd be no way that the quality of your life experience, which is tied inextricably to your relationships, right? Because as I've explained before, your relationships are your tethers. They are the lines that keep you connected to this reality. Not money, not cars, not clothes, not jewelry, not popularity. And we know this because we have Michael Jackson, most popular person in the world. We had Whitney Houston, Prince, so many others, but these are contemporary names that a lot of the people who would engage with this interaction be able to relate to. And it wasn't enough. Those things, their material existence wasn't enough to keep them here. And everything in the world, everything but strong enough tethers, strong enough ties to this existence to keep them in this existence. Relationships. So at the point at which I was coming into the understanding of these things, I was learning without having that exact thing said. Hey, the stuff you're learning is going to increase the strength, the tensile strength of these tethers, right? And for clarity, tensile strength is, the, I don't want to complicate more, but so tensile strength is basically the sturdiness of a connection. If I can really simplify it, the sturdiness of a connection, right? So if you have a rope, the more materials, like a rope is generally made up of several strands of the material that comprise the rope, right? The more strands a rope has, the stronger that rope is. That strength is represented by, it's called tensile strength. So the strength of that rope, that tether that keeps you connected to this reality is not based on material shit. Nigga not gonna be laying there with 2-3 holes in his body talking about, I can't die, I just ordered a new Benz. And because it has happened. It has happened. Motherfucker could be shot to shit. It's like, I can't die, yo. I just spent $50,000 on this or that. Like, for real. There's so much that cats have not seen. That's real. So much of what's depicted in like shows and movies and stuff like that cats probably think is creative writing because it's so ridiculous. But it's real. I mean, people have heard the expression that the truth is stranger than fiction. Yeah. It's just a lot of people have not lived like really extraordinary lives. They've lived pretty patternistic lives. Like it's just kind of the same shit over and over again. Get up, go out, go to school. Get up, go out, go to church. Eventually get up, go out, go to work. And then get up and go out, go to church. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much their lives. And they see the same people, meet the same people, interact with the same people, have the same conversations. So they don't really have, which is why movies about uncommon existences are popular. That's why gangster movies are popular, because most people don't live gangster lives. So those things are really very fascinating to them because it's so far removed from the reality. Well, I've encountered people that as they were dying, that was their concern. They were like, I just got this, you know? And I think even in those instances, it was occurring to me that that's not enough to keep you here. That's not enough for you to be able to endure what this life requires of you. The disappointments, the heartbreaks, the, you know, the whole you tried to turn into a housewife, the, everything that comes along with all the things that money can't buy. In order for you to be able to endure the losses and disappointments, you've got to have more keeping you attached to this existence than your love for material shit. Now, that might sound very obvious and apparent to people in hearing me say it, but I'm confident that a lot of people never think about that. And because they don't think about it, they don't analyze it, they don't put their thoughts or ideas through a critical process, by default, they accept the opposite. Just never really think about the fact that they accept the opposite. And the opposite is that they believe that they should live for the acquisition and acquiring of material things, because that's what I go to work for, so I can consume and buy shit. You know, that's why I deal with this boss I don't like, this job I don't like, this career I don't like, or that's why I deal with this dude I don't like, or this girl I don't like, because through them I'm able to have the material experience that I want to have at the cost of my peace of mind. And so the development of those strong connections beyond the material pursuit, I understood at the point at which I was introducing you guys to codependent concept, dysfunction concept, all of those kinds of elements that have to do with interacting with others in the world, especially as young men, especially as young black men growing up in the 80s, when the whole propaganda of materialism was being perfected and it was being used to construct your whole matrix, your generation's whole matrix. People in my generation who had been born in the 60s and the 70s, it was catching them up, twisting them up. That's why so many of them, you know, the prison population exploded in the fucking 80s. Exploded. Went from hundreds of thousands to a couple of million. And it was because of this superficial, materialistic propaganda campaign that was pervasive. It was everywhere, every which way you looked. More and more, every song, every movie, every TV show, especially if it was directed towards us, but really is being directed towards the entirety of the American population. That's when you get lifestyles of the rich and famous. Like, realistically, what's the point of a show like that? What's really the point? To motivate people to go get money? No. No. It's to separate people from their connection to the things that actually matter and supersede those connections with mindless consumerism as a shortcut to establishing value in oneself, as opposed to doing the kind of character work, that you should be doing if you really want to increase your value as an individual, which that's not easy. Certainly not as easy as going out, doing whatever and getting some money and going buying something and going, here's my value, new car, new clothes, piece of jewelry. And that's what they were pushing and selling. So I knew I was in it. So I knew what you guys were dealing with, what you guys were coming into. And I was at the same time exposing myself to a whole other realm of depth of insight or understanding. So consciously, I knew that I wanted to spare y'all, or at least reinforce you, arm you. I wanted to arm you guys with practical understandings that I didn't have. I had some uncommon understandings based upon the kinds of people I was raised by and the condition I was being raised in, but those understandings were limited, especially when it came down to human emotionality. I was taught to read people for the purpose of being able to control and manipulate them, because that's a major part of gangsterism, control and manipulation. So I always told people that there's nothing cute or cool about being a gangster. It's a pretty fucking ugly existence. It just made it look like it was some good shit because of the materialism. But a lot of pain and suffering. And all you can do is put stuff on it. You bleeding out. Put a Rolex on it. You'll be all right. Put some ice on it. And I don't mean, Hijo. I mean, like diamonds. It'll be fine. You'll be okay. But I'm really traumatized. They just killed my whole family. Don't worry. The bag is coming. This is really what was being pushed. So I understood that to the degree that I could at that point as a young man. And I understood that if I could give y'all some advantages, some pre-insights, that there was a chance that you guys would have the opportunity to make better choices, have a better quality of life, without having to put your life at risk every fucking day in order to do it. Right? Because that's what it is to be in the street. You're in the pursuit of materialism, but you're not really in the pursuit of life. You think you're in the pursuit of a better life, but you're not. There's no way it's like a better life is this way. And you're in the streets, you're going that way. And some of us know it, but we just think that if we go this way long enough, it'll bring us around to this point. I won that game. And I can tell you that it don't work that way. In order for me to get where I am, I had to stop, hold, and turn around. Blind. Because I definitely did not know what the fuck that was. I knew enough about what that was, though, to know that it was definitely not going to lead me here. I knew that. And that's all I do. So I stopped, turned around, and walked blindly back in the other direction, feeling my way around. That's how I won. But key was acquiring uncommon insights. And I was doing my best to introduce these things to y'all. That's why I had y'all reading 48 Laws of Power at 15 and 16 years old, or 14 and 15 years old. That's why I had y'all studying it and writing reports on it and stuff like that. I still have all y'all notes. Everything y'all wrote, all the stuff, I still have all your notes. My plan was one day I would be sharing them with your sons. So, I don't know, this would be a hell of a thing if we could figure out what was effective at the time and what wasn't, especially for you. I mean, you got a 16-year-old and a 6-year-old.
7.
7. Yeah. You still got some guiding and, some protecting to do. And you obviously understand that it can't be enforced up, like it can't be forced upon them. You have to find a way to circumvent their lack of experience, their hubris, where they think they know things that they couldn't possibly fucking know. Can't possibly know it, shorty. You ain't been here long enough, and you ain't been no motherfucking where. You haven't been through anything. You haven't been allowed to free fall where, the greatest degree of opportunity to learn is in falling freely without not just the assistance of protectors, but without even the concept that there's somebody there who might protect you. Those are the kinds of circumstances that if they don't kill you, literally, you learn the greatest and most profound lessons. They haven't had that. Their lives have been insulated. So they think they know things that they don't know. Just like a kid who has a tooth, puts a tooth under a pillow and then wakes up the next day and there's $1 under there. They believe that what they have witnessed and their ability to understand what they've witnessed is proof of concept. They believe it. And they're logical. So it's very difficult, even with your experience and their regard for you to get across to them that, yeah, I know it really, really, really looks like that. And I know that you have been able to reliably substantiate the reality or the validity of other concepts that you have about other things in life based upon how they look. But this particular thing in this instance, this ain't that. Oh, Dad, you don't know. How could you know? You old. This is all new stuff. Like, yeah, it's all fucking new stuff. It's all shit that's never fucking happened before in the history of human beings. Absolutely new. Like, how do you circumvent that? How do you save them from themselves?
Yeah, you don't. I learned that you give them the information and, just be there for when they fall on their face. And, you arm them with information. That's all you can do.
You have reached the level of fatherly wisdom that many aspire to, my son.
Man.
Like, for real. You can try being very understanding and expressive and communicative. Then you can try, being aggressive and threatening. Then you can try being there. I'm just going to be your friend. I'm just going to be your friend. And you'll find that none of that shit is going to make the difference you think is going to make when you decide that you're going to make these shifts. None of that shit's going to make any of those differences. Tell you that right now. Right now. I've raised sons, and I'm telling you, I've tried it all. I've tried it all, and I would dare to say I'm a little more suited than most. And you just got to throw it up and let it fall where it does, and just hope that it falls favorably. And like you said, be prepared for when it doesn't. And again, hope that when it doesn't, they're salvageable. You know, I mean, when your brother first caught his first bid for the murder at, what was he, 15? 14,
14.
14, 14. Um, I was,
oh shit. Ooh. This got spooky as motherfucker.
and that was a motherfucker, bro. Like, I was like, what the fuck? You know, the fortune in that misfortune was that he was so young, and and Black lives matter so little to that system, that they were like, hey, shit happens, kid, but you're gonna have to go and sit down for a couple because you're already on probation for that assault you did on the crackhead when he tried to get his car back from you after you had given him a certain amount of crack bottles in order for you to be able to rent his car. So, you violated your probation by touching the gun that you used to ultimately kill the kid. So, kid Schmid, that violation, we can't have that. So we're going to sit you down for about, 18 months or so. So I was able to get him, and come back and get him and, bring him back home with us. And I tried everything. I tried every cool, let's talk, communicate. Let me, but I'm up to here in the very thing that he's trying to do. So I'm telling him, now, you see all of this, all of this, masking up and, going to work and, like, don't do any of this. Don't do any of the stuff that I'm doing. He didn't see anything. and this is a super smart kid on top of it. A super smart kid with a 10-foot tall heart, scared of nothing. What? Like, what the fuck was I thinking? What was I thinking?
Wilding out in New Jersey. Him and his homeboy Jamie, when you was gone, and Tiff was just like, as long as you get them good. He had got that job at the chiropractor office over there. He was just out.
What was happening? Like, what was, like, I'm ripping and running. I'm up and down the highway. You know what I mean?
It was just like after we go to bed, we knew he had girls in the living room and stuff. Him and Jamie, they chilling and stuff. And they would leave. He would just leave, and we'd be in the house, and Tiff would be out at the club. So he was just chilling. Like, he was just, able to, like, still move around a little bit. So he was just using that. And then there was that time you came home, and he threw his ass across the room in the chair. And it was just like, oh shit, this nigga's crazy strong.
even then, I totally forgot about that. Even then, when I, threw him across the room like that, I threw him into a soft ass chair. Because I had no desire to harm or hurt my son. I just wanted to save him from himself. And I wasn't willing to do, apparently, the necessary things. And I don't mean hurt him. I mean fucking stop doing what I was doing. Because that was the problem. What I was demonstrating was the problem, not what I was saying. I was saying the right things. I wasn't doing the right things. And of course, it's all justified because look at the quality of our lives.
I mean, it didn't change on the other side because Eric was robbing banks. So it was like either be with you or Or he definitely was gonna be over there with E.
I miss E. Yeah. But yeah, it's it's so much shit built into this existence. And you probably remember me saying this many times over and over throughout your life, but there's so much shit built into this existence. So many things to trip over. It's so foolish for us to go out of our way to create or find problems when they're built into the existence. If we were really as smart as we think we are, we would be focusing on developing habits of behavior, beginning with our thoughts, that would increase the possibility of us being able to circumvent, avoid the shit that's already built into life, without trying to find ways to make life more volatile, more unstable, more unpredictable and dangerous. As an intellectual, when you look at behaviors like that from a cold, pragmatic perspective, a scientific perspective, it's kind of like dissecting a frog. It's like you got nothing against this frog, but you have to cut it open in order to be able to see how the things inside work. So this brutal act is necessary for this enlightenment that you seek, this understanding that you seek. So from a practical, pragmatic, beyond practical, a coldly pragmatic social scientist perspective, one looks at those kinds of human tendencies, those common human tendencies, and it's difficult not to become indifferent, not to look at people like cattle or lab rats or inconsequential. So if thousands of you die, or tens of thousands of you die, or 100,000 of you die, 500,000 of you die, it doesn't move the needle. This is from the perspective of a coldly pragmatic intellectual, or at least somebody who considers themselves to be intellectual. What I'm speaking from is from a very micro perspective, just my own introspective understanding from my own self-analyzation. Now, in the macro, what I'm talking about are Bill Gates, Larry Ellison, Peter Thiel, Stephen Miller, Donald Trump. That's why they don't have any problem whatsoever doing the things that they're doing, knowing the adverse effect that it's having on the majority of the population in this country or this world. Because shit is going on, like the same people behind the things causing 20,000 children alone, 70,000 overall, but 20,000 children alone in Palestine to die. It's the same thing that's causing the shit that's happening in Sudan and Congo and all that. It's the same group of people. And they cause the deaths on purpose, not just for profit, because they don't need no money. It causes the deaths of tens of thousands of people